So I was hit with a conundrum today. I was looking through the ringtones that I had made for my phone, which you see listed right in front of you here, and I noticed that there was just very little diversity here. All these songs are pretty much from the same genre, and a lot of them are even from the same decade, or series of decades. So I thought to myself, what I'm going to do today is just create a couple more iPhone ringtones, and then I had an improvement upon that idea, where I said I'm going to create a couple more iPhone ringtones, but I'll screencast it so that everyone else could follow that lead and create some really excellent ringtones of their own, possibly share them with their friends. So what I'd like to do is just get started on that right now. So what I'm going to do is close iTunes, or hide it rather, and open Garageband. And we're going to create a new music project. And for the sake of simplicity, let's just name it Ringtone, create. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is close our grand piano. We're not going to be working with any of the software instruments in GarageBand, although you could, if you wanted to, actually create your own custom ringtone using the GarageBand loops. Today we're going to be focusing on the songs that are in your iTunes music library. So we're going to close this and delete this track. If you're a keyboard user more than, say, the mouse, you can hit Command-Delete to get rid of this track. Otherwise, you would just have to go to Track and then click on Delete Track. Now, once that's done, what you want to do is click on the Media Browser button right down here in the bottom right-hand side. This will slide out our media browser, and assuming that audio is selected here and iTunes is selected directly below that, you'll have access to pretty much your entire music library right down here. I've already selected the song that I'd like to use because I think it might make an alright ringtone and get a few laughs in the process. So, Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. It's a timeless classic. It's withstood many, many trials, and I'm using it. I'm going for it. So you just simply click and drag that over here into this area. It will import it, convert it, and then generate waveforms so you can see the high and low points of the song. Once it's here, you can see that pretty much it's good to go. You can scrub through the audio, select a place to play, and hit spacebar or the play button. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. There it is. So everyone watching this has just been rickrolled. Basically what we want to do at this point, now that we have our track in GarageBand, we know what song we're going to be using, you want to enable the cycle region, which is right down here next to the fast forward button. So you just click that once, and you'll see that this little area right up here has appeared beneath our measures. It's just a smaller little measure area, and that will basically allow us to determine what part of the track we want to have as our loop and eventually export into iTunes as a ringtone. So I've already selected the portion of the song that I'd like to use, so I'm just going to go back to that and make the selection myself. So it's going to be right around here. So what you do first is you click, and then you're able to drag left or right from where you initially clicked here. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag to the right, and I'm going to take it right about to here. Okay, now when you hit the play button or the space bar, depending on your preference, GarageBand is going to play within the constraints of your cycle region. So let's give it a shot. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you, never gonna give you up. To really annoy your friends and family, it would be great to just keep that on infinite loop and crank it way up. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we're actually trying to do something useful with this song. There are a couple cool things you could do after you've selected your region, and one of them I want to show you is creating a fade out, because that ending, if we go back to it really quickly, to start at a particular part of your GarageBand track, what you have to do is double click up in this area. Hitting the spacebar or play will start at the beginning of the cycle region. So if you double click right here, so So that would be a good place for a fade out because the music is still happening and it's beginning a transition into another part of the music, another verse, if you will. So in order to do that, what we would do is click on this arrow over here underneath the track name, and we see we have this blue line right here, and it's currently at 0 decibels, which is, that's flat. That's where the music is by default. And what we want to do is click once about where we want the fade to start. So let's figure maybe right about here, and we'll see it's placed a small blue little ball on the line. And where we want to also click is where we want the fade to end, which is lined up exactly with this yellow bar right here. So let's click right about there, and then what we want to do is drag this all the way down, and this will create our fade. Now it's not necessary to drag to minus 144 decibels. If you go minus, I believe 30 would do the trick. But for the sake of this, let's just go to minus 144. Now if we double click up here and listen to this, we should hear our fade out. Okay, so our fade out's now in place. And the last step, in order to make this into a ringtone, I'm just going to put that back up, is moving right up here to share. And we want to send ringtone to iTunes. So you simply click this. It'll do some of the encoding stuff, create the mix down, convert it, send it right over to iTunes. It's that easy to enjoy Rick Astley as your ringtone. Just letting you know. It exports as your name and the name of the project, so what you would have to do is, rename this. And then obviously, I did not write that masterpiece. Rick Astley. Another thing you can do really quickly if you're not using an iPhone but you still want to be able to make ringtones with GarageBand is, let me hide iTunes very quickly. What you'd be able to do is go to share and export song to disk. Now what you want to do is make sure that compress is clicked and change compress using MP3 coder. Now you could select any one of these, or if you're a little bit of an advanced user, you'd go to custom and you'd have some pretty fine tunable settings right here. Usually a ringtone for a phone, it doesn't need much bass or mids or lows. It doesn't need much sound of anything. So a bit rate of like 96 to maybe 128 would be the best quality to size ratio for your phone. Once you were finished doing that, you would hit OK and then just export, and it'll allow you to specify a destination, your desktop, your music folder, things like that. And that is basically the long and short of creating a fun Rick Astley ringtone for your phone.